Hey guys, this is Steli after with Closeout. I'm actually recording today from not so beautiful Germany. It's August, but it's actually pretty dark outside and rainy. And I'm in the back office area of my brother's mobile shop. Today I wanted to talk about something that somebody asked me just a few days ago. I was at an event speaking, and a guy came over to me and said, "You know what, Steli, I just watched your interview with Gary Vaynerchuk. And dude, how the hell did you get Gary Vaynerchuk to do an interview with you?" So for all of you who know, most of you should probably know, Gary Vee is kind of like a big deal, right? An author, an internet celebrity, and an investor, just an all-around amazing guy and a hustling superhero. And I started to trying to tell him and explain to him how I got Gary Vee to actually do the interview with me. But before I go there, let me give you guys some backstory. First, let me tell you what the interview did for us. So if you go online, and we'll link this up somewhere in the video, you're actually going to be able to watch it. It was a 30-40 minute interview with me and Gary Vee where we talk about sales and entrepreneurial salesmanship. That video got over 10,000 views. It's our most popular video on YouTube right now. And more than just that, it got us tons and tons of signups and thousands of revenue for our product Close.io. And even more than that, it got us a crazy amount of love and branding and recognition and kind of street cred. And we're going to utilize that video and the success of it. Although the production value is really bad, the content of the video is amazing. We're going to leverage that content to get more and more amazing interviews with people that are just incredible in their hustle game. So how did we get that interview in the first place? Well, let me give you the backstory. Years and years ago, probably like 4 years now, 3 to 4 years ago, I actually reached out to Gary Vee for the very first time. And the reason was that at that time, for a few months, myself and a few of my friends were trying this new crazy idea. We were experimenting with this project. And basically what we try to do is to create a QVC, an online shopping channel. So a shopping channel, but completely online. So what we did is we were streaming from a studio in LA. We were bringing up amazing products in real time. We were actually spending thousands and thousands of dollars on Facebook, buying the audience in real time, funneling them to that website. And on the website, you'd have a little streaming video of our host presenting these different products. On the right side of the video, you'd have like a buy button in the product description. And below it, there would be a live chat. And we did, I think, 4 or 5 of these shows. We sold tens of thousands of dollars worth of product. It was a pretty interesting experiment. And during that time, I read Gary Vee's book, Crush It. And if you haven't read it, you absolutely have to read it. So I read Crush It. And at the end of that book, Gary Vee gave away, I think, 5 to 10 ideas that he said he won't have time to do, but that are billion-dollar ideas. And one of those ideas was an online shopping channel, a native web-based QVC. When I saw that, I was like, holy shit, let's get Gary Vee to invest in us. Let's get him involved in this venture. And what we did is my friend and I, we wrote him this amazingly detailed email that was way too long in hindsight. And we created this website that was like GaryVeeinvestinus.com or something crazy like that, where the background of the website was all in like Jets logos, because if you know Gary, you know he wants to buy the Jets one day. And we put in a few video snippets and a reel of our streaming show with the business plan. We did this whole customized thing just to get him to invest. And we thought because we poured so much energy into that he surely would want to invest, right? So we sent him that email and we heard nothing. And then we sent him another email, we heard nothing. I think I tweeted him once or twice. Nothing. I think we might even have tried to call him or call his office with no success. And eventually we gave up. Funny enough, it was during the time we were experimenting with that idea that we experimented with a few other ideas, and one of them that ultimately led to what we're doing today with Close.io. So we kind of like abandoned that project and never really looked back. And I never felt any particular way about Gary Vee ignoring us. I always knew he's busy. We did all we could do to get his attention, and then we didn't even have anything else anymore to get his attention for, so we kind of just left it where it was. 2 years later, we're doing Close.io. It's going fucking awesome. And a friend of mine and I are watching a Gary Vee interview where he basically says, and I'd heard him repeatedly say that he's in his heart, at its core, he's a salesman. And I thought, holy shit, he's right. I mean, Gary Vee is an amazing storyteller, an incredible salesman. And nobody has ever interviewed him about his perspective on sales and the hustle. It's always just social media and investing and wine and all these other things that he's known for. But here's the thing that he tells us is at its core who he is, and nobody ever asked him, and it's a topic that's incredibly relevant to our audience. So I thought, well, why don't we try to interview him and interview him on sales specifically? Now, at that point, and this is now, I don't know, maybe 8 months ago. So 8 months ago, we had this idea to do a sales-focused interview with Gary Vee, and we thought, you know what? One of our investors is actually a really good friend of Gary. So I pinged one of our investors and said, hey, here's the idea. We want to do an interview with Gary Vee, focus on sales and hustle. Do you think he'd be interested? And he said, you know what? I don't think right now he's on this book tour thing. Ping me in a few weeks, and maybe I'll try to email him and see if he's interested or not. So that's what we did. A few weeks later, I pinged my investor again, said, hey, can you please ping Gary Vee and see if he's interested? And he did. And I think just a few weeks later, I followed up once or twice, and eventually Gary Vee's team got back to us and said, you know what? Gary's interested. He wants to do the interview. Awesome, right? Gary Vee, we got him. You know how much more time it took to actually do the interview? We had to follow up multiple times. There were all these scheduling conflicts. Sometimes it took 2 or 3 follow-up emails to hear back from his team. Gary's a crazy busy guy, and he's doing so many events, so many interviews. He's pouring his heart out, and he's trying to be as accessible as possible. And what comes with that is that you're overwhelmed with requests, and there's so much shit going on that just because I don't hear from him or from his team doesn't mean that I am entitled to that, or that I should start thinking badly about him, or that I can just wait and have them do all the work to actually make this event, this interview happen. No, man, I hustled. I emailed, I followed up, and eventually a few months later, we actually got the interview done. And if you watch the interview today, I mean, the production value is shit. The internet connection was horrible. At the beginning of the interview, you can actually tell that Gary was not that excited or energized by the idea of doing another Skype call. He's in some hotel, missing his family. But then, once we actually got started and we were able to ask some questions that he had never had a chance to actually talk about, he got really into it, and he got really passionate, and he started sharing stories and ideas and philosophies he had never shared before. And by the end of the interview, he said that it was one of the more enjoyable interviews he's ever done, and a few days later he actually tweeted that it's probably one of his best interviews in years. At least that's what his wife told him. And I'm super proud of that. And that comes with a lot of background story on how we got there. But the core thing that dawned on me when somebody just asked me the simple, innocent question, oh, how did you get Gary Vee, is that there was this massive backstory, and I didn't get him with my first attempt. I got him with the second attempt. And even with the second attempt, I didn't get him with the first request. It took multiple requests and follow-ups to get him. And I realized that, your current results in life are a lagging indicator of your past hustle. And I looked at everything that's going on right now, all the interviews we're doing, the podcast stuff, all the guest articles. And when I meet my friends, they're like, dude, you're on fucking fire. Like, your shit is out there. I see you everywhere. How do you get this article? How do you get on this podcast? But you know what? All that shit that's happening today are things that I started preparing 6, 9, 12 months ago. Things that I, in some cases, started years ago in terms of studying the person, like with Gary Vee, reading his books, being a true, authentic fan, knowing the dude. So when I had the opportunity to interview him, I actually was able to have an interesting discussion with him, ask him really relevant, interesting questions, and get real nuggets of magic out of him, just because I knew the subject matter. I knew him, I knew his interviews, I knew his stuff, his books, all of that. So I was able to actually get something out of that interview that was good for him and really amazing for us. So anything that you accomplish today, if you're not happy with those results, it's not because of the activities that you're putting into the market or into the world today. It's the results you're getting today are the results based on the things, the work, the hustle you've put in 6, 9 months ago. So, and then again, conversely, if that's true, the hustle and hard work you're putting in today, don't expect the results tomorrow. The results might take you 6 to 9 months from now. Your current results are a lagging indicator of your past hustle, which means you always have to hustle today in order to reap the results and the rewards a few months down the line. So Today I have to ask myself, how can I out hustle my past self? How can I make sure that in 6 months the results are amazing? Not next week. Next week is already set. We already have interviews. We already have stuff in the pipeline. The next 4, 5, 6, 8 weeks are already built up with shit that's going on, and that's good. But we're hustling today in order to make 3 months from now, 6 months from now, even more amazing than the past. So a couple of lessons learned. Number one, obviously, you have to hustle today, and you have to have the patience and the energy and the follow through and follow up to actually see those results come to life and manifest into reality. But also, when you're reaching out to people that are way beyond your level or class or whatever, when you reach out to people that are incredibly busy, incredibly successful, and you ask them for shit, you have to leave your ego behind, basically. You can't be entitled. They don't owe you shit. And you can't be like, well, I can't believe this guy didn't answer me my email. I can't believe we put a website together for this guy. Why hasn't he ever emailed us? See, the only reason why I reached out again to Gary this time around and we succeeded with doing an interview was because A, I had something relevant to say and I thought it would be beneficiary and valuable to him as well, but also because I didn't have any bad feelings towards him. I didn't feel any funny type of way about him just because he ignored me first time around. I didn't care. I knew he was probably busy and I didn't deserve shit. He didn't know me. He didn't, owe me a reply to any email or to any funny website that I made for him. So make sure that when you reach out to people that are amazing or that you desire to be connected with for one reason or another, that you're totally okay with the fact that they're probably going to ignore you, not just because they don't like you, but because they're probably busy and have other things to do. So reach out to people that are amazing, but be fine with it if they don't reach out to you, and keep it going. Keep studying these people so when you get the chance to actually interact with them, you actually are able to provide value because you know them. So you don't ask the old questions, you don't say things that are stupid or obvious for people that actually know the individual. Study them and study their work so when you get the chance to interact, engage, and start building a relationship with them, you actually are empowered to build value and create something that's enjoyable to them. And then realize that nothing good comes from work that you're doing today instantly tomorrow morning to you. Most of the time, you're going to have to hustle your ass off, and then the results are going to come into the future. And also, when things are going really well today for you, don't slow down, because the reason why they're going well for you is because you hustled 6-9 months ago. So if you start slowing down, your future in 6 to 9 months is going to slow down and it's going to suck. And people always struggle with that lag. That lagging indicator, it confuses us as human beings. We think, oh, we're doing amazing today because of the shit we're doing today. And then that obviously, dramatically decreases our control over our future because we confuse cause and effect. What caused the amazingness to happen today is the stuff that you did 6 months ago, not yesterday. And if you want 6 months from now to look amazing, you better hustle your ass off today. All right, I hope that was useful. I hope for all of you out there that are hustling every single day that you take the few nuggets of wisdom that I was able to share today with you, you go out there and you get them.